more. You're going to like the other episodes.
Okay. You're good? You don't need your beverage or anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. You good?
I'm good.
I got my drink, y'all. Okay.
Do I need to turn the recorder on? Or are you talking to YouTube only right now?
Oh, hey, YouTube. I'm still getting settled because this is me.
Is this live?
No. We're gonna look. If you do something really crazy, we just won't post it. I need to throw away this piece of gum. Oh well, whatever. YouTube, I'm gonna chew gum, so you're just gonna have to see it. Okay? Hit record.
Okay. Am I opening?
So we're not editing that first part out?
No, probably not. It's sort of a behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So YouTube will kind of have this feel like you get to see extra stuff.
Gotcha.
All right, deep breaths.
Jeanette, we are interviewing our first guest. We had some issues finding a good place for the sound, so this one's probably going to be more echoey, but I think it's okay. I think it is what it is, and we will just see how it goes.
Right. So hi, podcast people. This is episode 4. We are interviewing our first guest, and we are really super excited about that. But we are in a bustling office space, so
Yes.
there may be some noise, and I'm going to let Alyssa introduce who we're talking to.
So we are interviewing Matt Hughes. He is the president of the Greater Baton Rouge Association of
I totally
Realtors.
forgot that. We've got the president.
Yes, we have the president of the association.
We started at the top. We've got nowhere to go but down.
I know, right? We should have gotten someone less impressive.
So many better options.
And like she said, we're in Matt's office, so it's a busy day here, hustle and bustle, so the sound may not be as perfect as we would like, but that's okay with us. We're just going to go with the flow.
That's right.
So Matt has had a lot of experience in a lot of different areas in real estate, and so I'm excited to even dive more into it because I don't even know a lot of this stuff about you.
Okay.
And we've been friends for a while, so
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you tell us how long you've been in the business, what did you do before real estate, and what do you do right now?
Okay. I've been in the business for 13 years, and when I was 17 years old, I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And my dad's family has been in the real estate business since the early 80s, and so I grew up in the commercial leasing space, residential leasing space, going to my grandfather's office. So I knew that I wanted to do this in some way, form, or fashion. So fast forward, my dad was like 17 years old, 18 years old. I would say you're too young. And so graduated from high school, went out into the world, worked a couple of different places, tried college. That was not for me. And then I went to work for my dad in the furniture business, and we were there for a couple of years. And then we closed the store, and I traveled the country with a company that closed furniture stores, and they needed salespeople. So 21
That's kind
years
of
old.
ironic.
Yeah, 21 years old, traveled and lived in Maine, New York, Cape Cod, a handful of other places. But came home with some money. I was like, man, I'm ready to get in. So I got into real estate from there. My first opportunity was working with Kayla Johnson as her buyer's agent.
Cool.
Kayla is a strong agent in the Baton Rouge metro area, does a lot of business here in Livingston Parish, and really learned a lot from her on the how to put deals together. She's one of a kind agent, and so I truly loved my growth with her and learning the business from
And
her.
she's like the first person that when you became a licensed realtor,
Mm-hmm.
that's who you were with.
That's who I was with, and that was in 2006. I worked there from 2006 to 2008.
Okay.
2008 is kind of when the bubble burst here in the Baton Rouge metro area. And I didn't have my name established because I was a buyer's agent at the time. And so I answered a newspaper ad to go and work for Reynolds, Summerall and Scruggs, which was a major property management company. And so I was able to work the property management business and learn that aspect of property management. And I worked there. We did that for a number of years, and then I became partner in that business. And then and that's when I got back into sales. So I had a management business and sales business. Grew that, and had a lot of fun doing that. I learned the management business, as crazy as it is. I truly it's one of my passions of the real estate business.
Yeah, because you still do that.
I do.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
So when you decided you got your real estate license, what made you join a team versus just going and trying it on your own at first?
I wanted to get in and learn the business and learn in a tactical way of going, hey, I need to go work. She works a lot of new construction, so I lived in new construction world and waited for people to come in to show them all the houses that we had. The reason I wanted that is because I wanted to learn from a top agent, and then I wanted to find out how to do it. To me, that was the easiest way to jump into the business and start going.
Was it hard to leave that?
Difficult. Yeah. It was one of the toughest things to leave her business, and that the thing that made it a little bit easier was the economy was down, and the face of the business had changed.
Right.
So
Is that why you left?
Yeah, because at that time, everyone that was in new construction quit putting a lot of doors on the ground at that time, and so everyone was trying to make it work.
Yeah.
But that's why I moved in that direction.
And the property management came about because of a newspaper ad.
Yeah, crazy. My wife actually sent my resume to the guy, Bruce McMurray.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because we were looking. I had to find something. I wanted to keep my real estate license. Business was slow. I was in my early or late 20s, but I needed to do something to keep it moving.
How long had you and your wife been married at this point?
We actually had been married. We got married in 2008, so we were newlyweds.
Yeah, brand new. So when you started, y'all weren't even married.
Correct.
Because you started in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel pressure when the market went down
and
y'all were newlyweds?
Yeah, I just built my first house and moved into it, and she had graduated from college, and we got married, and things were crazy.
Yeah. Was she working at that time?
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. So you did property management. I feel like that's just that could be a 5-series episode on property management.
Yeah, so we managed about 230 doors, and we had 40 homeowners associations that we managed. It was a full-time deal, and we were running and gunning.
Out of curiosity, what do you feel like the work-life balance is in the property management to the sales side of things? Was it way harder in the property management side, or was that easier because you had more normal business hours?
Yeah, property management kind of gives you that. So you're working 9 to 5. The lease basically says we will in case of emergency call this number. But when you leave at 5, you leave at 5. Or in the real estate world, you can be working until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. Every night. Yeah,
and yet you left the property management world to go back to sales.
Well, yeah, I did both. I love sales as well. I love putting deals together. I love representing my clients and getting them where they want to go.
So I know that you have been through teams. You've had different positions in the company. So once you got out of the property management, what was the first thing you went and did?
Well, I was Keller Williams Realty Premier Partners brought me in as their team leader and CEO. So the office you're in now, I was the team leader and ran the office.
Wow.
For 2.5 or so years.
Okay. And were you selling at all during that time? You were non-competing?
Non-compete, helping the agents grow their business and.
So you kind of played the role of a coach.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. And then you decided to do what after 2 years of that?
So 2.5 years of that, I was ready to jump back into business. I missed the business. I missed putting deals together. I just missed the day-to-day awesomeness of this business. So I jumped back in in 2018. Yeah. Oh, okay. April 2018, I jumped back into the business. I've been blessed to jump back in and have some of my clients working and putting deals together again.
Did you start back solo?
Yeah, solo with 2 admins. I had a transaction coordinator that was virtual, and then I had a part-time assistant in the office.
Do you feel like you wanted to get back into it income-wise? Like, was the position you were in salary, so you knew that was your income no matter what? Or was it income-driven at all, or you just missed
Of course it was. I mean, the salary and consistency was always nice, but the thing that got me into real estate was the exponential growth that you can have as hard as you work or hustle.
Yeah.
You're there and you have the opportunity to make as much money as you want to.
Yeah. It's funny because sometimes I ask realtors, if you weren't a realtor, who would be your realtor?
Oh, really?
Yes, and I have said Matt before.
Oh, I love it.
Because
That's crazy.
That's really nice.
I think it's because our job can get really stressful, and anytime I talk to Matt, we just have a way of like laughing it off and not taking each other so seriously. We are not emergency room doctors. No one's gonna die on the job. Yeah, like it's just he's a really good person to talk to get your perspective back under control.
Do you bring that to your deals?
I try
pretty
to.
easygoing?
I try to, absolutely. The goal is to make sure that the clients feel like this is a process, and we build the systems around that to where they feel comfortable, they understand what's going on, and they're not surprised at the turn of a right or a turn of a left.
Yes.
Right.
Where is your team now? Is it still just you and the 2 admins?
No, I have it's me. I have two admins, Kelsey and Austin. Austin kind of works on the growth side of the team, so I can stay focused in the listing business and putting deals together business, because as I was team leader, I saw agents that wanted to grow a team. They wanted to grow, but it's really hard to do both. And so Austin came into my life when I was a team leader, and we clicked like that, kind of had the same vision. And he helps me grow the team. Kelsey is our admin. She goes through the ringer every single day. She takes care of contracted close, marketing, everything. She's awesome. And then we have 1 buyer's agent, and we're looking to grow from there.
Yeah.
Or not buyer's agent. Let me rephrase that. It's looked at as buyer's agent. My agents on our team can do both sides of the deal. I don't want them to be in this box. I want to help them grow, see leverage on the listing side and on the buyer side.
I have a question about that. When I started, it was 2005, so pretty close to when you did. And the team structure then was more traditional with the rainmaker, listing agent, and then if there were buyer's agents. But I find now a lot of teams don't use that system anymore. They put just agents maybe in a team setting, but they could list or do buyers or whatever. What do you think is, I guess, the reason for that, like the shift in that, or how is it beneficial?
I think it's however the lead agent likes it or sees the vision of it. For my case in particular, the MREA is the book that we all follow. So the MREA has the model structured, and you follow it.
What does that stand for?
Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
I read it when I started.
Yeah, and so we all follow it. I think if anybody's getting in real estate, it's a great book. If you're a business person, it's a great book.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, it was I wanted to grow this way. It's not it's not a model because it has not had a defined success yet.
Okay.
In that, but for me, to grow people in the business and mentor them and to motivate them, I don't want to go, hey, I just want you to represent buyers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you to represent sellers, because that's not who this business is.
Right, but how long so in that vision, you're mentoring them out of your team. You're not expecting them to stay forever.
No, not necessarily.
What is a time frame you feel like where you'd be like, I'm okay with letting you go?
What's the incentive to stay?
The value that we bring.
Perfect.
Every single day, we're together, we're growing together, we're building this thing together.
Yeah.
This is not the Matt Hughes show. This is
Right.
Our team is who we are, and the more we have buy-in for that is is from our agents and from our people is the value. And so we want to continue that growth. So we've got to stay ahead of that and be building what's next. What do we do next for them, for our growth?
And it's funny because, so the first episode, I talked a lot about how once my success started getting published, I started getting all these calls from other agents, mostly new agents, mostly on teams, but there were some solo agents. That's how I met Katy. She called me to go get coffee. Yeah. Oh, you listened to our first episode?
She sent it to me.
We're honored. We're
Right.
honored.
For sure.
But anyways, you were actually the team leader where your only job was to be available to people that needed to come in your office, that needed to brainstorm. It was your job to do that, where I was trying to like squeeze it in on coffee dates between working and stuff. But what do you feel like was the number one struggle? Do you feel like people were struggling with their own mindset? Do you think that people were trying to force real estate to work for them, but maybe it wasn't their thing? Were they... What do you think the main problem that you saw was?
Well, I think the main problem with most people getting into this business, they get into business for two things. I want to get into business because I want to make as much money as possible. I want to get into business because I want to own my own schedule and I want to do what I want to do. I want to be with my kids. I want to do this.
Yeah, good luck
And
merging those
it's
two.
really hard to have both of those. And so the biggest struggle is the work-life balance for most agents that want to make money, but then I want to be over here too. You can't. Just like any job, if you don't go to your job consistently and do the work, you're not going to be employed.
Right.
It's the same thing. We're just employed by our clients.
Right.
Do you feel like that is what, because teams are very popular, they're trending, agents are getting licensed and starting teams day one almost. Katy and I are two solo agents, so we struggle with understanding that. But do you think that's why people are rushing into that, to forming a team? Because they want to have work-life balance and stay at home?
I not on my team.
No.
Like, we're structured. We're in here hustling every single day, 5 days a week. There's a set structure that we have. We follow guidelines and policies, and because we know if you treat it like a business, it'll be paid like a business, whether you're the rainmaker or you're an agent on a team.
Do you feel like you have seen the trend of people becoming the head of a team really early versus year 6 or 7?
I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean it's not out there. I'm not in the business of paying attention to that anymore.
Right, that's very true about that.
But
Yeah.
I'm so focused on what we're doing and where we're going that really I don't pay attention to very much anymore.
And it's funny because episode 2 was on the culture of the real estate industry, and I don't think Matt would have much to contribute to that because he doesn't know.
That's interesting. Also being the
I
president.
know some.
He does. He knows some of it.
But I'm not in the trenches of it. I'm not paying attention to office culture. I did that for 2.5 years, and I can assure you that
it'll drain you.
It was an unforgiving, torturous day in day out piece of it, because you sit there and you have a coaching session with somebody for 2.5 hours and they roll out and don't do anything you talked about, and then they come back the next week and you're like,
and that wears you down.
Yeah, you're like, you're taking my energy but not giving anything back, and so that only lasts so long.
That's kind of how the coffee dates ended, sort of, because I was just like, I'm exhausted. Like, at first they were motivating, and if I hadn't had one in a while, and it depends on the person, they weren't all that way, but you're right. That's kind of what happens. People want to come, get motivated and fed and talk to someone positive and uplifting, but they're not always going to change.
Right. In order to refuel you as a mentor, you'd like to see some success, or at least feel like you're being heard.
Mm-hmm.
True success is the speed of implementation. So if you come get something, and I would get energy or I would receive the energy if you saw that implementation happen.
Mm-hmm.
But in most cases, people get in the business for two things: to make money and to have as much time. And they lose the gap there.
Right.
Okay, I want to ask, what does hustle look like to you?
Do you think hustle's a bad word? Is it
No,
good?
it's
Is it
actually
bad?
one of my favorite words.
Oh, good.
Okay.
I say day in, day out, no one outworks me, no one out hustles me. When I was growing up, to go into 18 days of college when I quit college.
18 days
18 days in. On
Yeah.
the 19th day, there was a test. I was like, I'm not coming back. My dad said,
This isn't
my-
for me.
and my dad said, you're taking the path of working and outworking anybody there. The doors to college is only going to open. You're taking the path of kicking them through. So everyday hustle and grind. I need the structure. I feel out of place if I'm not here in my routine on a daily basis and putting the work in.
Katie, I think that him not going to college on the 19th day because there was a test is a perfect time for you to share your college story real quick.
Okay, y'all, this is super vulnerable for me because it's not something I normally just put out there to anyone. Alyssa
putting it out
knows
there.
because we're close. I went to school for English. Quite honestly, I was like, in the top 10 of my class at St. Joseph's. I worked hard, hours and hours of homework in high school. When I was done, I was burnout. I was done. When I was done, I was done. So I was going to LSU, full scholarship for academics, but I wanted to do interior design, which totally plays into the staging love I have. But it was a 5-year program, and the thought of that was like, no way, I can't do it. I can't do 5 more years of school. So I went into English, which I also love, but I had no intentions of being a teacher. So I had no real plan other than they're letting me go to college for free, so I'll just go, but I don't have anything in place after that. So on and I worked full time my entire college career, 40 hours. I would, make it to class. Sometimes I wouldn't make it to class just because I was working so I could pay for my bills. Well, my last semester, I got my first F of my entire schooling.
Your last semester?
My last semester. Like, I had graduation invitations already printed, and I got an F, and I was like, oh no. Well, I mean, I wasn't going to do anything with my degree anyway, and I signed up and I was moving away. I moved to Colorado after college, and I signed up for a correspondence course because I could I could take something. It was an elective. I could take anything. I failed an elective my last semester of college, and I got the correspondence course, but I just never did it, and so I never got my degree. 3 hours short, and then I went into retail management, which we talked about in a previous episode, and that wasn't going to be it, and then I ended up in real estate.
It's funny because there was this quote about, it was a money quote, and about sales and spending money, and it's not a good sale if you don't need it. Like, you think you got a good deal because it was on sale, but you don't need this, now you just have more crap. Not saying college is crap, but you knew you didn't need it. Even though it was a short 3 hours left, you knew you didn't need it.
The fact that I didn't finish would blow most people's minds because they don't understand.
Well, you went through all those years.
I didn't need it on day one, and if the environment was the way it is today, when I started college in 1995, I probably wouldn't have gone at all.
Right.
Or at least taken a gap year, or got my stuff together before I tried to do, maybe I would go into design, and maybe I would do the 5 years, but I was over it.
So interesting.
Yeah, my high school for the last couple of years invites me to career day to come talk to the seniors about what's next for them and what's going on. My first reaction was, "Are you sure you don't need it to come talk to them?"
Right.
I'm going to tell them the truth because
Yeah.
I believe that college is for some people and for the good of some folks, but at the end of the day, it's not the next step. It doesn't have to be the next step. And I think that young people go into college and they go get into debt to go get a job that will take them the rest of their life to pay off their debt. And
For sure.
it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way about real estate in a sense? Like, real estate's not for everybody. That's why we looked up the NAR statistic that 13% of realtors make it to year 5. So that's a really, significant number. And I think a lot of it is people rush in, maybe without doing their homework, or it's just not for everybody.
I think that I agree with you. I think that the aspect of a realtor is not for everybody. But the vision for the team is there's a different seat and a different seat on the bus throughout this process that might fit you better than being a listing agent or a buyer's agent. Or there's so many different roles that we can, if you have the passion for real estate and you're wanting it for the right reasons, there's a seat. And that's one of the things I love about the team is it might not, the seat of an agent might not fit for you.
Right.
But being my growth coordinator for Austin, he's a licensed agent and he loves the business but wants to empower people to come into our world. And so seeing that and being able to pivot and bring them in there rather than go, hey, I want you to go meet as many get as many listings or buyers as you possibly can. That's not how he works.
Right. This is why I love interviewing people, because our brain is so different. And I have a hard time even understanding, like I get scared and nervous about thinking of team and whatnot. You know that. We've had several conversations about it. It's funny because I recently, in November, so it's not quite a year yet, had a new agent in our office that has been helping me.
Right.
And I just say she's been helping me. And he's like, you got an assistant. I'm like, not really. She's not really an assistant. Okay, I got an assistant, but don't tell anybody because I don't want people to
people that work for Alyssa have to look like her. So if they're putting a sign out, people can't go.
Think it's me.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's funny because he said, my assistant ironically looks like me.
Right.
We have dark hair.
She's your body double.
She's my body double. And I joked and told Matt I got her, so that way if people see her putting out a sign, they're like, look at Alyssa still putting out her own sign.
Stop.
He was like, I'm gonna find her and I'm gonna snap pictures and I'm gonna post it on social media.
People are gonna know now.
People are gonna know. I know. I'm putting it out there.
Well, that's the first step. I'm really proud of her right now.
Hi, I'm Alyssa. I have an assistant.
I'm Alyssa. I have an assistant.
Yeah,
and now you can be like, that's why she's successful. It's not because of her.
Oh no, you're stealing it. The first thing I did in April of 18, when I got back in, I went and got a bunch of listings. So I was doing my first listing input, and I was like, "Oh God,
This sucks."
I hadn't done this in 6 years." Because before I was team leader, I had folks helping us, and so that was the first thing I did. Was like, we gotta have somebody. Like, if I'm spending 2 hours putting a listing together, I gotta go.
It's not a good use of your time.
Yeah, I gotta go.
You don't have good typing fingers either, you know?
No, and I'm impatient.
So when you say, I'm gonna get back into real estate as a solo agent for now, and I'm gonna go get a bunch of listings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do you just go get a bunch of listings? What'd you do? What'd that look like in the beginning?
It was calling my sphere of influence and
Yes.
apologizing for not being in their life the last 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's so humbling.
But my first lunch, I dropped the ball on one of my best friends buying a commercial property for his business.
Because
my
you were a
first
team
call-
leader?
Well, yeah, just there were so many other things going, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll go over and take care of it, and then and get back with you, and then the world would happen in that team leader role, and it was just so you couldn't have both. And so I called him like, hey, I want to take you to lunch. We went to lunch, and told him that I apologized for dropping the ball on the property for the business, and I'll do anything to help him. He's like, funny you say that. We're about to have our third baby, and we're not going to go to private school, and I need to move. So one of my first transactions back in the business was selling him almost $1 million house, listing his house.
Wow.
He introduced me to his brother who bought a piece of land in Mallard Lakes, and then I sold his brother's mother a house when she moved here. Like that was, as I talk to people and go, if you just have conversations with the people that know you and love you,
Oh my gosh.
they want to feel your success too.
Right.
And sometimes it is taking one on the chin. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll be the first
That's
to
the
say
humble. I mean, I feel like that what you just gave the perfect visual of hustle humbly.
Mm-hmm.
You not only were going to humble yourself, apologize, take ownership of, being absent, but also to say, I'm here now, and no one's going to outwork me. And then you earned it. You earned it back. Because if you would have done a crappy job listing and selling his house, he wouldn't have given you more referrals. It would have ended there.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty. It was. And so and that was just the building of that's how the momentum started, and then going from 0 listings, now we stay in a hold of 25 to 30 at a time.
Wow, that's perfect. And you do, I know, just because whoever does your social media does a good job.
Kelsey,
Good
Shout
job. I know Matt doesn't do a good job because I've seen his Facebook friend request box.
we have to purge every couple
We
years.
have to purge every couple years.
Wow.
Where were we last time? DC?
Yeah,
We grabbed a margarita
yeah.
and we opened our laptops
Oh, wow.
and we purged our friend request list.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. If I haven't responded to you, I apologize.
We'll get Kelsey on that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch in there now.
So from your social media, I know that you do a good bit of land,
I love land transactions.
which is, I think, a great niche because
Yeah.
I don't think, whenever I have a land question, I call Matt, especially if it's in Livingston Parish.
Why do you love land, and are you selling things that are not listed? What is going on there?
It just depends. Most of the time I'm listing them.
Okay, you're taking a listing.
So we just did a resub. We bought a piece. I found a piece of land. I brought it to my buyer. We did a resub on it. We cut 1 tract of land into 5 lots. Moved some utilities, spent some money on it, and then I'm doing the same thing on another piece. We're subdividing 4 acres and making acre tracts, and then we're about to list a big tract of land that we'll hopefully be able to put together some infrastructure and sell it to one of the big builders.
Okay, so this sounds like development. Are you going in that direction, or you like to just have your hand out a little?
I would love to be. The vision for my team is to grow a brokerage within Keller Williams and grow a brokerage within our office. And so I would love for my job on the team to be the commercial and land guy. And then have my residential division, have my property management division.
So one thing that my brain has trouble understanding, if that's the goal, why wouldn't you just be your own broker? Like, what's keeping people under a brokerage umbrella if you are in fact going to be Matt Hughes Realty?
The cool thing I love about Keller, and for me, is the systems and the tools that are here in our office,
Right.
and then the pieces that they're putting together in Austin for our agents is pretty impactful. The structure in which they let you build, they're more entrepreneurial driven than they are realtor driven, which it's the same thing, but being able to build a business within a business and leverage some of those pieces of having to cut checks to agents and different things like that. Not that that's a huge deal. The referral basis, being a part of a large, and you guys do it as well, like being able to go teach a class and home on the next day you have 2 listing referrals. It's a big piece. And so being an independent doesn't, you have to find that some other
network of a company. It is pretty neat that all 3 of us are with different companies.
Yes, because cultures are different everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm even in a different, because RE/MAX is a franchise just the way Keller Williams is. Even every office is different. My office has less than 20 agents, but the RE/MAX across town has probably over 200. I mean, it's a totally different culture in every office.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting.
I want to hear about being president
Okay.
and what you've enjoyed about that, what you've taken away from that, why you even did that. I just want to hear more about
Because
it.
he can't say no.
My word for 2020 is going to be no.
Oh,
But
okay.
Good thing we got him on the podcast this year.
That's right. Yes.
I'm kidding. I'm a high-eye personality, and I want to make people happy. It's just to a fault.
Okay.
When I started the board leadership, I was team leader of the office at the time. I wanted to get involved, and so it was kind of a win-win there. And so coming into my first meeting,
At the board of directors.
at the board of directors, I was voted in as secretary treasurer, so I went directly into leadership.
Okay.
Not served on a whole lot of committees,
Okay.
just wanted to get involved and started there. And then that's when I realized, like, hey man, we have to fix this, and we have to get we need to go grow the next leader. We need to bring the next group of leaders up. And that's kind of been my push coming through the leadership. So my second year, I went into the meeting and was voted in as president-elect, served in that term, and then this year's my presidential year. It is an experience. I think that, and anybody that asks me, I'm like, it is a lot. It's definitely harder to balance it now, being in business day to day, tactical. It's not one of those things that you can't do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. It is you're giving back to your industry. You're on a local level. You're helping build that local organization. There's a bunch of meetings. There's things you have to follow. It's been a blessing. And I wouldn't change it. I'm glad I was able to be in that position.
Yeah. Can you believe you're almost done with it?
Yes.
You've put your time in and you're ready for the next thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
It is cool.
You do it all the time though, Alyssa. You like to stay on that board.
I've served on the board, gosh, I don't know if it's been 4 years or 5 years, and several committees. And it's funny because I don't even know if Matt quite realizes this, but I was sort of in line to do secretary treasurer that year.
And you didn't stand
and
up.
I said no. And that word he doesn't know. And I did it because I was pregnant.
Right.
And I know, because I've served on the board for so long, that if you are good at what you do, it naturally progresses from secretary treasurer to vice president to president. And I saw that as not that, but I saw it as newborn, 1-year-old, 2-year-old.
And years long commitment.
Years long. So then I was like, well, why do I have to do this in my 20s?
Right.
Why don't I do this in my 40s?
Right. Right.
And then they were like, what about Matt Hughes?
So
and I have loved watching it because there, sometimes you get asked, not even in board situations, but you get asked to do things that you don't have time for. And you say yes, but you check out and you don't do it properly.
Right.
And I just don't think Matt's capable of doing that. If he's
gonna do it all the way.
in, he's gonna do it.
I like that.
It's really hard. Yeah.
It's really hard. It's a tough life.
Yeah.
So one thing that I wanted to ask you, going back to what we were discussing, we all kind of know those agents that every year switch companies and are like, oh, I'm with this company now. Oh, I'm with this company. Sometimes people, say, well, I wasn't doing so good because of where I was at or whatnot. I like that you've had some consistency, but your roles have been so different. So did you get any flack for that, for changing roles, or you didn't care? I know, because you don't care.
He doesn't hear it.
You don't care what people think at all?
In some aspects, yes, but others no. In that piece of it, anytime I changed brokerages, the decision or the base of the decision had to be bigger than me.
Right.
And it had to be for the betterment of whoever was around me. And I think switching companies because you're not producing or doing is not a business decision. You're trying to find an excuse for a result you're not getting.
Right.
And when I teach a class at the office over the last couple of years, and we talk about time management, we talk about different things, and at the end of the day, if you're not getting a check, you need to talk to your employer, and your employer is yourself.
Right. I think Connie, my broker, says if you haven't been paid in 6 months, you're unemployed.
Oh,
fair. You are unemployed.
Right.
So don't kid yourself.
Yeah.
And what we discussed in the culture episode was that people are more about perception of success than actually being successful sometimes. They may not have even realized that the income isn't there because they're out there portraying it as it's happening. But maybe at the end of the day, it's not always that way.
Success is different for everybody.
Yeah.
And you have to live with how you want success.
I love it.
It's good.
This was awesome.
Very good. I feel like that was a really nice way to like end it too.
End it.
Everyone's success is different for them.
Yes, and that's what the mission of our podcast is. And I think it's so cool, your story. I mean,
Yes.
the Hustle Humbly. It's just perfect.
Very good.
So we like to end every episode by toasting to somebody.
I'll be
that-
toasting alone because I'm the only one with a beverage here, just for the record,
Yes,
podcasters.
yes. We slacked today. But we like to toast someone that, you know, is out there hustling, a humble person. Maybe they need to pick me up. Maybe we're celebrating their success. So as our guest today, we would like to know who you would like to toast to.
Oh man, there's so many because I have so many good relationships with them. So, but I'm going to be selfish a little bit. I'm going to toast to my agent Alyssa Bankston. She is in here day in, day out, hustling and grinding
I love
every
that.
single day. And she's been a part of the team for a number of months now, and it's the momentum is building, and you feel it, you can see it, and you see it in her eyes, and that's what drives me.
That's awesome.
What's her primary goal? Like, what's her job on your team, rather? Not goal.
She's an agent. She's an
Okay.
agent. Her primary goal is to hustle. Her primary goal is to get out there and generate business, whether it's on the listing side, the buyer side, whatever it is.
Is she the one that
Okay,
rocks
fine.
open houses?
Kills it.
That's
Oh, that's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Kills
Well,
it.
cheers. That's awesome.
Thanks.
So cheers to her.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you have any successes that you would like to send in, we would love to toast to you. So you can shoot us an email or message us on social media.
Yep, absolutely.
And
All right, I want to say thank you to Matt. He
Okay.
was brave, and he was our guinea pig first guest, and it was awesome.
yes, thank you. We're
Cool.
not sure if it'll sound
You're
too echoey, but I think it's going to be great.
Hey, we're just going to go with it.
Love it.
Okay.
Thanks, Matt.
Bye, y'all.
Awesome. Bye.
Okay, bye, friends. Matt, you can wave to the YouTube people.